There is a secret that the most magnetic women in the world know, a secret that has nothing to do with outer beauty, money, or youth. It is something so subtle, so powerful that if you apply it just once, he will choose you even though he has 1,000 other options. Have you ever wondered why some women have an inexplicable magnetism? Why they manage to make men who previously seemed uninterested suddenly turn toward them like sunflowers turning toward the sun? The answer does not lie in the advice you've always heard isn't about playing hard to get playing games or being perfect. The truth goes much deeper to something far more primal. Walter Rizzo, one of the most respected psychologists in Latin America, discovered through decades of research something that will completely change how you relate to men. And today, you will learn this secret. But first, I have to tell you something that may sound alarming. Most women are currently doing exactly the opposite of what they should be doing. They try too hard, want to prove their worth, and compete for male attention in a way that actually makes them invisible. Have you ever felt that feeling of giving your all, being the perfect woman, available, understanding, and yet he still doesn't choose you? You still feel like you're not special to him. The pain of not being chosen is one of the deepest wounds a woman can carry. It's as if something inside you whispers that you're not enough, that you need to be prettier, younger, more interesting. But what if I told you that the pain you feel is actually a gateway to your true feminine power? What Walter Rizzo discovered contradicts everything society has taught us about seduction and relationships. It's so simple that it seems obvious once you understand it, and yet so revolutionary that it can transform your life in a matter of days. Imagine knowing exactly what to do so that every man sees you as the most fascinating woman he has ever met. Not through tricks or manipulation, but genuinely from your innermost sacred core. The woman who masters this secret doesn't need to compete to diminish herself or to try too hard. She simply lives in her feminine fullness, and men are naturally drawn to this energy like to an invisible magnet. Today you will discover this very secret, understand why it works, and most importantly learn exactly how to apply it in your life, because the time has come for you to stop settling for crumbs of attention. It is time for you to be chosen not as one of many options but as the choice, the only one. Before I reveal this secret that can completely transform your relationships, I need you to stay with me on this journey. If you've come this far, it means your heart has already recognized the truth in what I'm sharing. Click the bell and subscribe to the channel, because the next few minutes might be the most important ones in your love life. And in the comments, write just one word: chosen. That word carries a strong intention. When you write chosen, you declare to the universe that you are ready to receive this sacred knowledge. You affirm that you deserve to be the chosen woman, not an option. Write chosen now because it will activate something within you. It will prepare your heart to embrace the transformation that is soon to come. Every word you write is like a seed planted in the soil of your new romantic reality. To understand this secret, I must take you on a journey deep into the male psyche, where Walter Rizzo discovered something that few dared to explore. In his 40 years of research, Rizzo observed thousands of relationships, couples who were madly in love, men who gave up everything for a woman, relationships that seemed almost magical, and he began to recognize a pattern that challenged every conventional logic. The women who were truly chosen were not necessarily the most beautiful nor the youngest or most successful. There was something else, something that cannot be seen with the naked eye, yet is as powerful as a force of nature. Rizzo called it female magnetic presence. But what does that actually mean? And why do some women have it from birth while others search for it their entire lives? The answer lies deeply buried in the primal layers of our nature. When a man meets a woman, something happens. Something ancient awakens within him. Something that goes beyond reason and logic. It's as if an old part of his brain is activated, a part that recognizes something sacred in the feminine. But here lies the problem. Modern society has corrupted this natural dynamic. We have been taught to compete like men, to prove our worth through conquests, to be strong in ways that actually disconnect us from our true power. Have you ever noticed that when you try to impress a man, he seems to pull away? When you try hard to be perfect, his interest seems to fade. That's no coincidence. It's because you're acting against your deepest nature. At his core, a man doesn't want to be impressed. He wants to be inspired. He doesn't want a woman who competes with him. He wants a woman who complements him. And this exact difference is crucial. Rizzo discovered that there is a feminine state that functions like a portal that connects you to your purest essence and simultaneously awakens something in him, something he didn't even know he was searching for. This state cannot be faked or imitated. It's like trying to fake the scent of a rose. It might smell similar, but the soul knows the difference. Think of the women in your life whom you admire who have that special presence. You'll notice they don't try hard to stand out, they just are. And in that being there is a completeness that is deeply attractive. But how do you reach this state? How do you find this essence? When did we learn over the years to be something else entirely? The day begins with a paradox. In order to be chosen, you must first choose yourself, not selfishly or narcissistically, but in a truly sacred way. You must reconnect with the woman you were before the wounds, before the disappointments. There is a version of you that knows her worth without needing to prove it. A version that is not afraid of vulnerability because she knows that this very vulnerability is her strength. A version that is not afraid of love because she understands that true love does not diminish. It multiplies. Walter Rizzo calls this the return to the sacred feminine, and when a woman makes this journey back to herself, something extraordinary happens. She becomes like a lighthouse. Men can sense her light from afar, but not every man can handle that light. Insecure men feel threatened. Immature men feel unworthy. Only the man who is ready for true love can approach this energy without fear. And that is the beauty of it. When you act from this sacred place, you automatically attract the right men. You stop attracting those who only want to play. You stop attracting emotionally unavailable types. Instead, you attract men who are ready to choose, to commit, and to love. That doesn't mean you become passive, nor that you submit. On the contrary, you become strong in a way that few truly understand. Strong without being aggressive, strong without seeming harsh, confident without being arrogant. The woman who has mastered this secret moves through the world differently. She speaks differently. She loves differently, and men feel that difference in every cell of their body. But what exactly is this secret? What is the one thing you can do that will change everything? The answer will surprise you, because it's not something you do for him. It's something you do for yourself. And paradoxically, that's exactly what makes him choose you above all others. The secret that Walter Rizzo discovered after decades of research can be summed up in one word: surrender. But not surrender as weakness. Surrender is the bravest act a woman can make. When you surrender to your true feminine nature, you stop fighting the current and start flowing with it. And in that flow you become irresistible. But what does it mean to surrender? It means letting go of the need to control the outcome. It means stopping the urge to force love. It means trusting that when you are truly yourself, the right love will find its way to you. Here's how it looks in practice. The woman who lets go stops doing all the things most women instinctively do when they like a man. She's no longer constantly available. She stops trying to solve his problems. She no longer sacrifices herself to prove her worth. Instead, she does something revolutionary. She keeps her life full and vibrant. Regardless of whether he is there or not, she becomes like a paradise island in the ocean of life. Whole enough, magnetic. The man senses it instantly. His primal instinct recognizes that she doesn't need him, yet still wants to be with him. And it's exactly that difference that triggers something deep within the male psyche. The instinct to pursue awakens, but not to conquer, rather to be worthy of her. Let me give you a concrete example. Maria was 45 and had spent the last 10 years trying to win her ex-husband back. She did everything for him. She was always there, constantly trying to prove she was the perfect woman, and he came and went, never really choosing her. When Maria discovered the secret, she did something that seemed impossible. She stopped. She stopped calling, stopped being available, stopped trying to solve his problems. Instead, she began to truly live her own life. She started painting again, something she had given up years ago. She began to travel alone. She formed new friendships, rediscovered her dreams, and something magical happened. The more whole she became without him, the more he desired her. A few months later, he showed up at her door asking for another chance. Not because she had changed for him, but because she had become the woman he couldn't stop thinking about. But here's the deepest part of the secret. Letting go is not a tactic, not a game, and not about playing hard to get. It is a genuine internal shift. It's about being so deeply connected to yourself that you naturally radiate an energy no one can resist. Walter Rizzo describes 3 pillars of this sacred surrender. The first is emotional independence. That doesn't mean you don't need love or connection, but that your sense of completeness doesn't depend on any particular man. The second pillar is conscious presence. When you're with a man, you're fully present in the moment. And when you're not dwelling on him constantly. You have a rich, interesting life that continues regardless of whether he is part of it or not. The third pillar is what Rizzo calls unconditional self-love. You love yourself not because of what you do or achieve, but simply for who you are. This energy of self-love is like an invisible perfume that naturally attracts true love. When these three pillars align, something extraordinary happens. You become like a flame, and men are like moths. They simply can't resist your light. But here comes the most important part, the important part. This is not about manipulating men. It's about returning to your true self. And when you do that, you naturally attract men who are on the same level of growth. The right man for you is the one who recognizes and values your wholeness. Who doesn't want to diminish you, but wants to grow with you. Who doesn't see your independence as a threat, but as a gift. And here's where the miracle happens. When you stop chasing love and start living it, love begins to chase you. When you stop trying to be someone else and choose yourself, when you start loving yourself, you become irresistible to the people who truly matter. This works at any age, whether you've been single for a long time or just came out of a relationship. It works if you want to win someone back or attract a new love, because the secret does not lie in your external situation, but in your internal transformation. The woman who masters this sacred surrender never begs for love again, never accepts crumbs, and never settles for half-hearted relationships. She becomes selective, not out of pride, but out of wisdom. She knows her love is sacred and must be treated as such. And the man lucky enough to win the heart of this woman knows he has found a treasure. He doesn't take her for granted because he feels that she chooses to be with him every single day consciously. And that very conscious choice creates a love that is deep and lasting. This is the secret that can transform your love life forever. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about being who you truly are without no masks, no games, no fear. Now that you know the secret, your life will never be the same. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you understand your true feminine power, you can no longer accept anything less than what you truly deserve. But let me be honest with you, this change is not easy. It goes against everything we've been taught about love and relationships. You'll have to unlearn patterns you've carried for decades. You'll have to let go of the belief that you don't need to desperately try to be loved. You'll have to let go of the belief that your worth depends on male approval. You'll need to release the fear that you'll be alone if you stop chasing him. And here comes the scariest part. You'll need to trust. Trust that when you are truly yourself, the right love will find its way to you. Trust that you deserve a love you don't have to beg for. Trust that there is someone out there who will choose you. Not despite who you are, but because of who you are. Exactly, because of who you are. But the fruits of this transformation are simply incredible. Imagine waking up every day knowing you are complete whether or not you have a man by your side. Imagine the freedom to love without fear, without clinging, without needing to control the outcome. Imagine entering a relationship not because you need someone to feel worthy, but because you choose to share your full, rich life with someone special. Imagine being loved for who you truly are, not for a version you pretend to be. That will change everything in your life. At work, you'll stop seeking constant validation and begin to trust yourself. With your girlfriends, you'll stop competing and start celebrating each other. With yourself, you'll build a loving and respectful relationship that becomes the foundation for all your other relationships. And here's something Walter Rizzo discovered in his research. Women who take this journey back to themselves don't just attract better partners, they also build better relationships, more lasting and more fulfilling. Why? Because when you are no longer dependent on a relationship to feel whole, you're capable of truly loving, giving without emptying yourself. You're able to receive without feeling indebted. You can argue without fearing abandonment. You can be vulnerable without being afraid of getting hurt. A man in a relationship with such a woman notices this immediately. He doesn't feel the pressure of being her only source of happiness. He doesn't have to walk on eggshells afraid of disappointing her. He can simply be himself and love freely. But let me tell you something that might sound contradictory. This path will make you far more selective. Men who once seemed interesting will now reveal their emotional immaturity. Relationships you once tolerated will suddenly become unacceptable. And that's a good thing, because when you raise your inner standards, you automatically attract people who are on the same level. You stop attracting time wasters and start drawing in men who are ready for mature love. Some women are often afraid of this filtering. What if I end up alone, they ask. But here's the truth. It is better to be whole and alone than together and empty. It's better to have one great love in your life than a series of mediocre relationships. And the reality is, once you reach this state of inner completeness, you'll rarely be alone for long, because your magnetic energy naturally draws in people who are on the same level of growth. Just imagine how that will change your conversations with men. Instead of trying to impress or please them, you'll just be authentic. Instead of being afraid of what he thinks, you'll be curious to get to know him. Instead of worrying about whether he'll call, you'll be busy living your fulfilling life. This transformation is felt instantly. The man senses that he's in the presence of a woman who knows and values herself, and that awakens a deep desire in him to be worthy of this extraordinary woman. But here's the most beautiful part of this transformation. It's contagious. When you begin to truly love yourself, you inspire other women to do the same. When you stop competing and start collaborating, you elevate the entire feminine energy around you. Your girlfriends will notice the change. Your family will feel the difference. And the men in your life, all of them, will respond to this new energy in ways that will surprise you. The ex who seemed to have lost interest might suddenly reappear. The coworker, who was always just polite, might begin to show genuine interest. New men may enter your life in unexpected ways. But here's what matters most. You'll no longer accept just any attention. You will consciously decide where to invest your emotional energy. You will give your appreciation only to men who show they are ready for the kind of love you have to offer. That is the greatest outcome of this secret. You will never again settle for less than you deserve. And that, my dear, will change your life forever. Because a woman who knows herself radiates an energy that simply cannot be ignored. A woman who truly loves herself attracts real love. A woman who chooses herself every single day will in the right moment be chosen by the right man. If this message touched something in you, if you feel like a revolution is happening inside, then share it with other women who need to hear this. Share it with your girlfriends, your sisters, your daughters, because when one woman awakens to her true power, she helps awaken all the others. And if you're ready to go deeper to truly dive into this transformation, don't miss the next video that's appearing right now on your screen. Click on the card and continue this journey with me toward more self-awareness and feminine power, because you deserve to be chosen. You deserve to be loved. You deserve a love that celebrates who you are, not one that merely tolerates you.